and ultimately that needs to come back to consumers demanding, more that they want products that have got a cleaner climate footprint, and therefore they'll pay a little bit more. The processors can then pay a little bit more to farmers who do that, right?
Yeah, and remember, this is an international market. Most of our meat and dairy is exported, so we're talking about premium markets in Europe, United States, and increasingly in China as well, where they're seeing value in low emissions products. So, yeah, look, it'll take a while, and the products are going to come in over the next few years, but we're certainly, the tools will be available for farmers to reduce emissions, and then it's just, who's going to pay for them.
Yeah, right. So the tools will be there. That's encouraging because it's taken a long time. What happens if some farmers or groups of farmers just decide, I'm not going to bother with this, it's an extra cost, and they sell their milk powder or whatever it is to whoever wants to buy it and doesn't care whether it's got a so-called Scope 3 climate profile or whatever? Yeah,
and some farmers say they're very keen to try these new technologies, and others say they absolutely will not. And then there's a big group of farmers in the middle who sort of wait and see. Let's wait and see when these things are in the market and whether they improve productivity of my animals and how easy they are to use, who's paying for them. But look, I think so there will be farmers who will say, look, they're not going to use these products, and then ultimately it'll be up to them, the processors, how they manage that.
The other aspect too, as I'm curious about, is what level of transparency and testing and research is done around these products so that you can convince consumers, and particularly I'm thinking in places like China where they are very sensitive about food security, that these are safe and they're fine, there's no impact for consumers. You're going to have to be very rigorous around some of the stuff, particularly with vaccines and other technologies.
So most of the products need to be approved by the Ministry for Primary Industries before they can be made available in New Zealand or in Europe by regulators there or in the United States. And that is a very thorough process. So the companies have to study the product in animals and a range of different animals. They have to prove the animal welfare and animal health issues. There aren't any. And also they have to test for residues. Is there any of this product ending up in meat or milk? And that'll affect whether or not they can get those approvals in the first place. In some cases, they have what's called a withholding period, where you give the treatment to the animal, and then the animal doesn't turn into meat for 3 months or so afterwards. But yes, that's very important. Consumers are going to have to understand the why. And for some of these, a lot of our product goes into food ingredients, so it'll be something inside a Mars product, for example. So it won't necessarily know exactly all of the detail. But yes, you absolutely have to test for residues and make sure that they're safe.
What about, we're seeing this, obviously, legislation go through Parliament on genetic modification, and where does that fit with your technologies and what you want to invest in? Are there technologies that could involve the new generation of genetic modification, which is obviously slightly different but still controversial? How do you approach that? Do we need to relax rules around that?
So two of the companies we've invested in, Hoofprint Biome and Biomedit, both based in the United States, they will launch their first products in the market here in the next 2 or 3 years. Those products won't be gene-edited, but they are working on gene-edited products as well, which would come later. So that would be dependent on whether the rules change here. They have products that will be available without any gene editing, but the gene-edited products would be more effective and last longer and be easier to use in the New Zealand system. So, it's a bit of a wait and see for us.
Final question to those sceptics out there who may be texting in this morning saying this is sort of a greenwashing exercise, and the only way is to reduce cow numbers is the only way we can do it, and that this, we've been trying this for 30 years, the science. What do you say to those people?
Things have moved on incredibly in the last few years. Like we started in 2023, we're finding a large range of companies now developing tools that will reduce emissions. They've already proven they can in trials in animals. Just a matter of getting more trials and getting them through those regulatory processes. So it is going to be possible to continue to produce quality meat and milk and productive animals and reduce emissions. The evidence is already there. It's just a matter of getting those tools through the process.
Thank you very much, Wayne. Wayne McNee there, Chief Executive of AgriZero, which is that private-public partnership. There's already been close to $200 million that's gone in towards into it, tasked with finding the technology to deal with climate change emissions. It's 23 minutes past 8.
And you're with Morning Report on RNZ National. Time for more of your feedback on young people looking for jobs and employers being inundated with applications. Leanne says, I've watched my children wait and wait, not sure how long to hold out hope that they might get a job. Even an automated email that says if you haven't heard in X number of weeks you haven't got it would help. It is soul destroying.
Here's one on paywave charges. This person says, if paywave charges are so awful, why is the government not stopping the banks from charging extra for paywave services? Seems to be hiding the cost, not about reducing it. We've got some traffic there.
Yes, we do. It is very busy on the motorways heading into Auckland this morning. A few crashes around too. The heaviest spots are from Rosedale to Takapuna, Massey to the St Luke's off-ramp and through Otahuhu, also at Manukau. In Wellington, a crash on State Highway 2 at Trentham. That one is causing some delays. Also slow heading into the Terrace and Mount Victoria tunnels. For Wairarapa commuters, there is a strong wind warning over Remutaka Hill, and in Christchurch, slow going for you through Addington, 24 past 8.
That would be time to talk money now, and credit cards are a big